Joining me now for her first comments about the motion she's filing this afternoon, Michigan State Attorney General Dana Nessel. General Nessel, it's good to see you. Thank you very much. Tell us about
having me.
Well, the legal action you're taking today and what it means going forward. What do you assess the possibilities of stopping this, in state court?
Well, just to review, obviously we had the Dobbs decision that came down in 2022, reversing 50 years of precedent under Roe v. Wade. The voters didn't care for that here in Michigan. So we had a ballot proposal that passed overwhelmingly. We had over 2.5 million voters say that they wanted to enshrine constitutional rights to reproductive freedom into our state constitution. And we did just that. But I think this is a helpful reminder, this lawsuit, that this issue never really ends. And when you had these anti-abortion crusaders say that they really wanted this issue just to go back to the states, it shouldn't be a federal issue, it should be a state issue, they didn't really mean it, right? So these same entities that at one time argued for states' rights now say that even in states like mine, where we overwhelmingly passed abortion rights and other types of reproductive freedom, and just to clarify that point, 15 counties that voted for Donald Trump in 2020 voted to enshrine reproductive rights into the Constitution in Michigan in 2022. So this is overwhelmingly popular, and yet you have these groups now that are trying to have federal courts strip us of these constitutional rights that we fought so hard for in Michigan. And so what we are doing at the state, and again, it's the governor, the Secretary of State, and myself, who were all sued in this matter, we're asking that the matter be dismissed.
What are the chances of that? I mean, the way I read the Dobbs case, and I'm no lawyer, but it basically said that it's up to the states to make these decisions, which has worked adversely against abortion rights advocates in many places, particularly in the South. I mean, there have been many states. Look at what Texas has done. But in Michigan, as you point out, there was an overwhelming vote. So is this a state judge? Is this I guess it's initially at a state court, right? So it's a single judge that you will be arguing in front of.
It's in a federal court, which is very important, remember, because it's not going to go up to the Michigan Supreme Court. This could potentially go to the United States Supreme Court. And why is that so important? Well, our main argument is that these plaintiffs have no standing to challenge the Michigan Constitution, right? There's no real or perceived or future harm that would come to any of these groups or any of these individuals who have brought this lawsuit. But, really all the jurisprudence and the laws regarding standing have pretty much gone out the window with this iteration of the United States Supreme Court. And, whether it's the Texas law where basically anyone could sue an individual if they had an abortion or if they aided or assisted in someone having an abortion, even if they didn't know that person, had never met that person before in life, that apparently was fine to still sue that person as though you had suffered some sort of, perceived injury, which of course we know is not true. We have the mifepristone case, the abortion medication case that is now pending in the United States Supreme Court, which could upend 30 years of an FDA-approved, incredibly safe medication. So what we're seeing with this United States Supreme Court is that the ends justify the means. And the ends here is ending all abortion rights as we know it and not just stopping there. What's next on the chopping block? Could be birth control, could be, fertility treatments, could be a variety of different things. And so, we have to treat every election as though it matters, whether it's a state election, whether it's a federal election, whether you're looking at who's going to be in the United States Senate and who's going to be the president of the United States selecting Supreme Court justices, or whether it's a state election and you're deciding who your AG, your governor, and your Secretary of State are going to be. Every election, when it comes to reproductive rights, matters, and this matter is never really over.